Hi, I'm going to talk a little bit about working in an equal money system because there is a lot of questions about this point, such as who is going to do the work and will we not have to exist in a system like communism where you have the labor force who is basically being used and abused by the leaders, which is also like the top layer. Um, and lots of fears existing around working in an equal money system that need some explaining and clarifying, which I'm going to try to do right now. So, um, what fear can exist in an equal money system? Okay, so first of all, the fear of, for example, communism. What is communism as how we know it and how we fear it is basically the labor force would be the people who are at the bottom, and then you have the leaders, who's the top people who have basically all the money, all the corporations, and who give the work to the people and say, okay, people, now you have to work, and um, then you can exist in the system. You just have to work your whole life, basically. And in the communist system, basically the labor force isn't properly educated about the system, so they're not really aware of what they're exactly working for and why they're exactly working and how the system operates. The only people who know how the system operates is the leaders, the people who stand above everyone and who are pulling the strings and handing out the work. So that's where the fear comes from, that equal money is something like communism, where you have the labor force who are forced into ignorance and who are forced to work. So that's what we're afraid of. Um, so, how will an equal money system be different from communism? Within the fact that, in a way, we will all be the labor force. There will be no leaders because the leaders will also be the labor force because we will all earn exactly the same. So there will be no people who will who get more than someone else for the work that they do. Like the leaders, like the politicians, they will not be the famous people anymore. They will not be the ones in the newspapers and on the television with their, face on billboards and whatnot. They won't be those important people anymore. They'll just also be part of the labor force within and at the realization that it needs to be done. Politics, like logistics and directing the certain points and having sort of an overview over things. It just needs to be done. So it's also work. It's also just labor equal to the ones living in working in the corporations, building a chair or manufacturing, processing food. It's equal because our starting point will be actually we get the same education from the beginning of our lives, or however old you are. We get the same education, whether you're going to end up as a politician or manufacturing food or a chair or whatever. You will have the same education and the same opportunities, but you will simply choose a different style or a different labor. Depends on what you like in an equal money system. So from that perspective, we will all be equal. There will be no top layer handing the work to the bottom layer, who then don't even see or not or aren't even aware of where the work comes from, why they have to work, what they're actually doing. They don't have a clear overview of their place in the world, so it feels like slavery. But an equal money system won't be slavery because everybody will have a clear overview of what we're doing, why we're doing it, how everything works, and because everything will be through a democratic system, as democratic as you could possibly imagine a system could be. That would be the equal money system. Everything would be, discussed openly and because we're all equals, and the equal money system will be based on the principle of just standing here as equals, and based on the principle of life and what is best for life, where working wouldn't become a priority anymore. So because in the communist system you have the labor force, which is actually designed to only work, not to live. The communist system is based on the principle of work. Work equals freedom. Work, work is freedom, apparently. So if you work, you can buy your ticket into heaven, or will be accepted by God, or will be a good being because you work. So you have to work all your life. But the equal money system, the only reason we have to work is because there's just things that have to be done for us to get food, and for us to have a home, and for us to have electricity and shit like that. These things have to be done, so that's why we will have a workforce, and that's why people will work, yet at a minimum, because we are very much aware, and we realize that life isn't about working. We've created that into it. We've created this idea that life apparently is about working. And if you don't work, you do not have the right to live. And people who are not working in the current system are really looked down upon because they are the freeloaders and whatever. So within an equal money system, we're going to seriously look at what life actually is and what would we want life to be. Obviously that's not going to be working, because work is like slavery, and that comes from some idea that God wants us all to work, that God apparently created this reality for all of us to work as his slaves, you know. So we're going to really review that point of working. So we're going to make sure that the work that needs to be done is at a minimum. It will be to make sure that we have our basic needs, and maybe some more things, not sure yet. Um, so it'll be cool, and everyone will be educated to the point where we are all able to look at reality and see bullshit when you see bullshit, and you are able to speak up, and you can speak up. Therefore, a democratic system, which will be cool. Um, yeah, okay. Thank you.